A woman is facing multiple charges after police completed a welfare check on her. On the night of Thursday the 8th of May, authorities responded to a gas station in Oak Grove, Kentucky, after receiving a call to check on a woman acting erratically and walking around in circles. When officers arrived, they found 37-year-old Tiffany Brunimitt inside a U-Haul truck with an 8-year-old child. Tiffany was asked to exit the vehicle after officers observed her spraying herself with a large amount of perfume. During a search of her belongings, officers located 3 bags containing cocaine. Authorities noted that the child was in close proximity to the drugs, and it could have resulted in unintended exposure. Tiffany was arrested and charged with possession of cocaine, tampering with physical evidence, public intoxication, and endangering the welfare of a minor. A man in Salem, Missouri is accused of concealing his uncle's death over 5 years to keep collecting his disability payments. 44-year-old Brian Ditch has been his uncle's caregiver since 2008, and they lived at 1203 North Main Street in Salem, Missouri. His uncle, identified as Thomas Clubb, had dementia and was unable to control his bowels or use his hands and feet. Thomas was around 19 when he was paralyzed in a car crash in Germany while serving in the US Army. Instead of caring for Thomas, Brian regularly abused and confined the disabled Army veteran, often locking him inside a garage for more than 24 hours at a time, where he was left without food or water and forced to sit in his own urine and feces. Thomas died in 2019 while still in Brian's custody. Instead of reporting the death, Brian wrapped Thomas's body in a trash bag and stuffed it into a garbage can in a shed behind the house where it stayed for over 5 years. During that time, Brian continued collecting Thomas's Social Security and Veteran Affairs benefits, transferring $1,000 at a time into his account to make it look like legitimate caregiver pay. Authorities said that between 2008 and 2025, nearly $1,900,000 had been deposited into Thomas's accounts, and that between January of 2019 and March 2025, Brian collected at least $650,000 in benefits he wasn't entitled to. Brian then used the money to buy exotic reptiles, to fund lavish vacations, and to enrich himself. Brian told family members that Thomas was in a nursing home, and told police that he had left with another caregiver. On the 21st of March 2025, police executed a search warrant at Brian's home, where they found Thomas's partially frozen body upside down, wrapped in multiple trash bags in the garbage can in the shed, as well as 3 shotguns, and Brian was arrested. Brian is a convicted felon with prior charges for burglary and domestic battery, and he illegally possessed these guns. The Dent County coroner said that the cause of Thomas's death is undetermined due to the advanced state of decomposition. On the 7th of May 2025, Brian was indicted in the U.S. District Court of St. Louis on 11 federal charges, including wire fraud, identity theft, theft of government property, and felon in possession of a firearm. He also faces 6 state charges, including abandonment of a corpse, tampering with physical evidence, 3 counts of unlawful possession of a firearm, and stealing $25,000 or more. Brian is expected to plead not guilty in federal court. If convicted, he could face decades in federal prison. Assistant U.S. Attorney Derek Wiseman said, "This is an abhorrent, reprehensible crime, a crime committed against a family member, a veteran, some without the use of their arms and legs. It's a disturbing and flagrant lack of regard for human life. I've never seen anything like it," he said. "This case is something else entirely." 37-year-old Robert Edward Williamson is behind bars after a woman died of an overdose at a sober living residence. At 9:54 a.m. on the 20th of April, authorities responded to a house along the 1900 block of Old Parsonage Road in North Charleston, South Carolina on reports of a possible overdose. When they arrived, they entered the premises and found an unresponsive woman. They attempted life-saving measures, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. Deputies discovered a clear baggie containing an unknown powder substance beneath the victim's left armpit. After talking to residents at the facility, investigators discovered that the victim did not attend that daily morning meeting. The victim was in the bathroom for an extended time, and the housemates believe that she was preparing for an Easter lunch with her family at noon. When the housemates went to check on the victim, they discovered that she was slumped over the bathtub, unresponsive with a toothbrush in her hand, and they contacted 911. The victim at the time had been sober for at least 90 days. During the investigation, authorities managed to tie Robert to the crime and tracked him down. After executing a search warrant, deputies found text messages on Robert's phone where he discussed the exchange of money for fentanyl. Law enforcement also found several firearms at his primary residence. On Thursday the 8th of May, Robert was arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter, trafficking fentanyl, 3 counts of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 3 counts of possession of a weapon during violent crime, and driving under suspension. He remains held at the Charleston County Jail on an $80,647 bond. 48-year-old Shawn Cornell has been arrested for repeatedly peeping at 2 women through their bedroom window. The incident occurred on the night of Thursday the 8th of May and was captured on video at an apartment complex in the 500 block of Washington Avenue in North Haven, Connecticut. The women told police a man was looking through their bedroom window. It had happened several times in the past, but they did not know the man. Authorities said they found the suspect just a short distance from the apartment and he was taken into custody. Shawn's charged with voyeurism with malice, stalking in the second degree and breach of peace, and he's held on a $10,000 bond. A 30-year-old man is behind bars for fatally shooting a 60-year-old Uber driver. At 12:01 a.m. on Wednesday the 7th of May, authorities responded to the 8,000 block of Mickey Street in North Richland Hills, Texas on reports of shots fired. When officers arrived, they located an SUV parked on the side of the road with the driver's side door open. There they found an unresponsive man inside the vehicle with a gunshot wound. He was unable to be saved and was pronounced dead. The deceased man was identified as 60-year-old Tiara Diallo. A second man, 30-year-old Kane Roden, who remained on scene, was identified as a suspect in the shooting and he was taken into custody. Investigators said they recovered a firearm next to the suspect, who they noted was highly intoxicated. Through the course of the investigation, detectives determined that the victim was a rideshare driver and the suspect was a passenger. A witness, Lauren Shoffett, said she saw the suspect exit the passenger side, go around the back of the car and saw him shoot. She said that the suspect held the gun with both of his hands and stood over the victim. She then saw a flash, heard the gunfire and she ran away. Neighbours said that Kane lived just a few feet from where the shooting took place. While the motive is still being investigated, preliminary evidence suggests that the 2 men did not know each other prior to the encounter, and this was an isolated incident. No additional suspects are being sought at this time. Kane has since been booked into the Tarrant County Jail on a charge of murder, along with 2 outstanding charges from another law enforcement agency, continuous violence against a family, and violation of a bond or protective order. He remains held on a $500,000 bond. The investigation into the matter continues. A 27-year-old woman is behind bars for fatally shooting one person and injuring another. At 12:52 p.m. on Friday the 9th of May, authorities responded to the 1500 block of Whiteness Street in Cape Girardeau, Missouri on reports of shots fired. When officers arrived, they found a male victim suffering from a non-life-threatening gunshot wound to the leg. Medical responders took the victim to an area hospital. While officers were on scene, staff from an area hospital told communications that a second victim had been driven to the medical center by a private vehicle and had arrived in a critical condition at the emergency room with gunshot wounds. That victim, 22-year-old Micah Ledbetter, later died from her injuries. During the investigation, authorities identified 27-year-old Deandra Leeann Patterson as a suspect, and she was arrested. She was booked into the Cape Girardeau County Jail on charges of second-degree murder, armed criminal action and unlawful possession of a firearm. She remains held on a $1 million cash-only bond. The motive of the shooting and the relationship between the suspect and the victims is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues. A home health nurse in St. Cloud, Florida is behind bars after she was caught on camera abusing an 18-year-old developmentally disabled, non-verbal quadriplegic patient diagnosed with cerebral palsy. 24-year-old Nia Ayers is charged with aggravated abuse of the disabled. On the 3rd of May, Nia was recorded by a family's home security cameras repeatedly taping the victim's mouth shut and then ripping the tape off, holding a washcloth to cover the girl's mouth, then vigorously shaking the patient's breathing machine while the device was connected to the patient's nose, causing it to bleed. The girl's mother noticed cuts and scrapes on her daughter's face, around her mouth and on her eyelids, which prompted her to review her home camera footage and contact police. Authorities obtained an arrest warrant, and on the night of Wednesday the 7th of May, Nia turned herself in to St. Cloud Police and she was booked into the Osceola County Jail. Chief of Police Douglas Girk said that the victim in this case is completely unable to defend herself or cry out for help. This is a truly heinous act, and we are concerned there may be other victims. A 38-year-old man is behind bars for fatally shooting a 27-year-old man during an argument. At 4:09 a.m. on Friday the 9th of May, authorities responded to 1302 Jemison Avenue Southeast in Roanoke, Virginia, after callers rang 911 to report hearing a verbal altercation followed by shots fired. When officers arrived, they found a man dead on the sidewalk outside Dollar General with gunshot wounds. The victim was identified as 27-year-old Hunter Kendrick Orlando. A second man was later found at Fallon Park with a minor non-life-threatening gunshot wound. Police said that the man's injuries stemmed from the same incident. During the investigation, authorities identified 38-year-old Thomas Dewayne Delp as a suspect in Hunter's death. On Sunday the 11th of May, Thomas was located and arrested. He is charged with second-degree murder and remains held at the Roanoke County Jail. The investigation into the matter continues. A doctor has been arrested in Louisville, Kentucky after police found child porn on his phone. 35-year-old Bradford Lee Marsili is charged with 20 counts of possession of matter with the sexual performance of a minor between the ages of 12 and 18, and 10 counts of distribution of obscene material. On Friday the 9th of May, Bradford was arrested at the University of Louisville Hospital where he worked in the 200 block of Abraham Flexner Way in Louisville, Kentucky. Police obtained a warrant to search Bradford's phone after they received a cyber tip about child porn being distributed by electronic means between June 2024 and January of 2025. Authorities said that during the search, they found 68 images and videos showing sexual performances by minors. 10 of those images were reportedly distributed through social media and part of the original cyber tip police received. The following morning, Bradford was arraigned on the charges and his bond was set at $75,000. He's currently on home incarceration and is to have no contact with the victim, no other violations, no contact with minors and no social media and no internet. His next court appearance is set for the 19th of May. University of Louisville Hospital spokesperson John Carman said that Bradford was immediately placed on leave once they were notified of his arrest, and that they are fully cooperating with the investigation. A woman in Jamestown, North Dakota has been arrested for child abuse involving an infant victim. 55-year-old Deborah Jespersen is also accused of providing early childhood services after her license was revoked. The investigation began on the 29th of April, when a 6-month-old child suffered a fractured arm while under the care of an unlicensed childcare provider. On the night of Friday the 9th of May, a search warrant was carried out at Deborah's home and police seized evidence. She's been held in the Stutsman County Jail pending formal charges from the Stutsman County State's Attorney. On Friday the 9th of May, former teacher 36-year-old Jacqueline Ma was sentenced to 3 decades behind bars for sexually abusing 2 of her 6th grade students. Jacqueline taught at the Lincoln Acres Elementary School in National City, California, and had been named San Diego's County Teacher of the Year in 2022. She was arrested in April 2023 after an investigation revealed she had groomed 2 boys. She began a sexual relationship with one of the victims when he was just 12 years old, while also grooming another boy years earlier. Jennifer was sentenced in the San Diego County Court after she pleaded guilty to multiple sex crime charges, including lewd acts on a child and possession of illegal material involving minors. During sentencing, Jacqueline expressed deep remorse, saying through tears, "I'm deeply ashamed of my actions." She apologized to the victims and their families, calling her crime selfish and that she had disgraced the teaching profession. She admitted to manipulating and deceiving the boys and acknowledged that their trust their families placed in her had been broken. She said, "I abused my authority, I exerted my power and control over them, and I deceived them. Boys this age should be playing outside feeling carefree. I ripped away their childhood. Instead of following the path of what a teacher should be, I let my selfishness override the boys' best interests. I lied to the parents' faces while secretly abusing their sons. I just pray for extra protection and strength for all those affected," she said. Authorities said that Jacqueline groomed the young boys with gifts, food and special attention, and even completed their homework for them. Despite the 12-year-old boy's parents not allowing him to have social media or his own electronics, Jacqueline was able to communicate with him through a school chat application. Prosecutors said that Jacqueline groomed the boy for over a year before she sexually assaulted him in her classroom over a period of 3 months, while his parents believed he was participating in an after-school basketball program. Further investigation into Jacqueline revealed that she had targeted and sexually assaulted a second victim, 11-year-old boy, in 2020. District Attorney Summer Stephan said, "No child deserves what this defendant did, and I hope this sentence brings a measure of justice to the victims, their families, and the community that was left reeling from this defendant's crimes," she said. Defense attorney Patrick Griffin stated that Jacqueline accepted her sentence to spare the victims the trauma of the trial. He added that she had been undergoing therapy while in custody, but does not expect forgiveness from the victims or their families. Jacqueline must serve the full 30 years before she's eligible for parole.